Something feels different around the Indiana Fever right now. Not frustrated, not emotional, different. Because when a superstar starts visibly pushing back against the coaching staff in the middle of a season, that's when organizations either evolve or completely fall apart. And that's why this moment involving Caitlin Clark is exploding across the basketball world. Fans have spent months debating whether the Fever are actually maximizing her talent, whether the offense fits her style, and whether the coaching staff truly understands how to build around a generational player. Now suddenly, cameras appear to catch Clark in a heated exchange on the sideline, animated, frustrated, emotional, and instantly the conversation changes from "Are the Fever struggling?" to "Is Caitlin Clark losing trust in the system?" That is a massive difference. Because elite players can tolerate losing for a while, what they struggle to tolerate is feeling restricted, especially when they believe they see the floor differently than everybody else around them. And this isn't just about one emotional reaction. This is about the tension that builds when a fast-paced superstar is asked to operate inside a slower, more controlled structure. Basketball history is filled with these collisions. LeBron had it early in Cleveland. Kobe had it with offensive systems he hated. Even Steph Curry initially dealt with coaches trying to limit risks before Golden State fully unleashed him. The Fever are trying to win games while also developing chemistry. But Caitlin Clark is not a normal rookie-level star anymore. She's already become the center of the league's attention, ratings, ticket sales, and offensive identity. And when players at that level start showing visible frustration publicly, fans immediately assume something deeper is happening behind the scenes. That's why this footage matters. Because now people are wondering whether Indiana has reached the point where the superstar and the system are beginning to clash. The biggest issue here is not simply that Clark looked angry. Competitive players get angry constantly. The real issue is how intense the interaction appeared.
Guys, I got breaking news. We're going to have to stop this. Some footage just came to me. Shout out to my guys over at Fire Stephanie White. It looked like Caitlin Clark was caught on camera arguing with coaches. Let me blow this up here. I have not, this just popped up here. It states, "Fire them all. Stephanie White was pissed at how CC ran the team in the first half." Well, guess what? Fever were plus 11 in the first half.
That changed everything. The conversation instantly shifted toward whether the coaching staff was becoming overly controlling with Clark's play style. And honestly, you can understand why fans are reacting that way. When Clark plays freely, Indiana's offense suddenly looks dangerous. The pace increases. Defenders panic in transition. Shooters get open. Bigs receive easier looks near the basket. The entire floor expands because defenses are terrified of her range and passing angles. But when the offense slows down into half-court structure after half-court structure, something changes. The unpredictability disappears, the energy drops, and Clark starts looking less instinctive. That tension is what people are seeing. And remember, the Fever were reportedly positive in stretches where Clark was aggressively controlling tempo. That's why fans are now questioning whether too much micromanagement is happening during games.
Tied in the second half. Caitlin Clark arguing with her coaches. She looks like she's done with their BS and attempt to micromanage everything she does. This coaching staff is not fit to coach a modern style player. Let's watch this. So this is the video. Caitlin Clark is going off, bro. Oh my God.
What makes this situation even more important is Clark's personality as a competitor. She has always played with emotion. At Iowa, her confidence and freedom were central to her dominance. She thrived when allowed to improvise, push pace, and attack chaos before defenses got set. Trying to heavily restrict that style can create friction fast. And historically, basketball superstars rarely respond well when they feel overdirected during games. Especially point guards. Magic Johnson wanted control. Steve Nash needed freedom. Luka Doncic operates best when dictating rhythm himself. Clark belongs in that category of offensive engine. So if she feels the coaching philosophy is limiting what makes her elite, moments like this become inevitable. The scary part for Indiana is that fans are now noticing it too. There's another layer here people are overlooking completely. Frustration often builds when a player feels physically ready but mentally restrained. That matters because the coaching staff later praised Clark's movement, burst, and overall physical explosiveness.
Wow. So Caitlin Clark snaps on coaching staff. My goodness, guys. Is things starting to boil in Indiana right now? Because it looked like it is. This looked like things is boiling. Oh my God. Now, I don't want y'all getting in the comments saying
that statement actually makes the situation more fascinating. Because if Clark is physically feeling strong again, then naturally she's going to want even more control offensively. Great scorers become more aggressive the moment they trust their body, and you can already see signs of that confidence returning. The deep range looks stronger. The pace is faster. She's attacking defenders instead of avoiding contact. She's getting downhill with force again. Those are signs of a player regaining rhythm psychologically, not just physically. But when a superstar regains confidence while simultaneously feeling limited strategically, tension grows rapidly. That's why this reminds some fans of early career clashes involving high IQ guards across basketball history. Sometimes coaches want structure, superstars want instinct, and eventually one side gives way. The emotional side of this cannot be ignored either. Clark entered the WNBA under impossible pressure. National attention, record expectations, constant criticism. Physical defenses targeting her nightly. Every single reaction she makes becoming a headline. That pressure accumulates. And eventually even calm players have moments where frustration spills out publicly. The difference is that with Clark, every visible reaction becomes magnified because she's now the biggest television draw in women's basketball. So this wasn't just a sideline moment anymore. It became a national storyline instantly. This is where things become dangerous for Indiana long-term. Because once fans begin believing there's disconnect between the superstar and the coaching staff, every substitution, every timeout, every offensive possession gets scrutinized. And social media has already exploded into sides. Some believe the coaching staff is trying to establish discipline and balance. Others believe Clark's creativity is being suppressed by outdated offensive philosophy.
Don't. Because we know that they're sabotaging her. Caitlin Clark is standing up for herself. She's sick of it. That's what this just showed me. She's sick of this shit, man. Wow.
That reaction shows how emotional this fan base has become, and financially the stakes are enormous. The Fever are not dealing with a normal player. Caitlin Clark's presence changes television ratings, arena attendance, merchandise demand, and national media attention across the entire league. She's not simply Indiana's point guard anymore, she's a business engine for the WNBA itself. That means Indiana has to be extremely careful about how this relationship develops publicly. Because if fans continue feeling that Clark is unhappy, pressure on the organization intensifies immediately. And here's the reality. Teams almost always choose the superstar path eventually. We've seen it across sports history repeatedly. Once a transcendent offensive player proves they can carry ratings, attention, and long-term growth, organizations usually adapt systems around them rather than forcing the player to fully adapt to the system. That doesn't mean coaches lose authority, but it does mean compromise becomes necessary. The biggest question now is whether Indiana recognizes that fast enough. Because if this tension continues building publicly, every Fever game is going to feel emotionally charged moving forward. And honestly, that might already be happening. What makes this entire situation so fascinating is that both sides may actually believe they're doing the right thing. The coaching staff wants structure, discipline, and defensive consistency. Caitlin Clark wants freedom, pace, rhythm, and trust. The problem is that those two visions don't always coexist smoothly when expectations are this massive. And now the cameras are catching the frustration in real time. So here's the biggest question moving forward. Should the Indiana Fever completely unleash Caitlin Clark's style of play, or is the coaching staff right to demand more structure before this team can truly contend? Because after this footage, it feels like the pressure inside Indiana just reached an entirely different level.